to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, call the roll, please.
Vidae.
Here.
Rosak.
Here.
Crouch.
Here.
Scarberry.
Here.
Mayor Lansford.
Here. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
Not at this time.
Okay. We have a proclamation tonight on motorcycle safety and awareness. Whereas safety is the highest priority for the highways and streets of our city and state, and whereas the great state of Illinois is proud to be a national leader in motorcycle safety, education, and awareness, and whereas motorcycles are a common and economical means of transportation that reduces fuel consumption and road wear and contributes in a significant way to the relief of traffic and parking congestion. And whereas it is especially meaningful that the citizens of our city and state be aware of motorcycles on the roadways and recognize the importance of motorcycle safety. And whereas the members of ABATE of Illinois, Inc. continually promote motorcycle safety education and awareness in high school drivers education programs and to the general public in our city and state, presenting motorcycle awareness programs to cover over 120,000 participants in Illinois over the past 5 years. And whereas all motorcyclists should join ABATE of Illinois in actively promoting the safe operation of motorcycles, as well as promoting motorcycle safety, education, awareness, and respect to the citizens of our city and state. And whereas the motorcyclists of Illinois have contributed extensive volunteerism and money to national and community charitable organizations, and whereas during the month of May, all roadway users should unite in the safe sharing of roadways within Streator and throughout the great state of Illinois. Therefore, I, Jimmy D. Lansford, Mayor of the City of Streator, in the great state of Illinois, in recognition of 31 years of ABATE of Illinois, Inc., and over 676,000 registered motorcyclists statewide, and in recognition of the continued role of Illinois serve as a leader in motorcycle safety, education, and awareness, do hereby proclaim the month of May this year, 2018, as Motorcycle Awareness Month. In the city of Streator, I urge all motorists to join in an effort to improve safety and awareness on our roadways. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and cause the great seal of the city of Streator to be fixed this 18th day of April in the year of 2018. We'll move to public comments. Anyone like to address the council, please step to the podium and state your name.
Good evening. My name is George Travis. I'm here to bring up a safety concern that's concerning traffic in my neighborhood. I live at 515 South Chavanaugh Street here in Illinois. At the entrance of my street is St. Michael's Church. And they've had 3 or 4 churches combined there now in this one church. And the traffic down my dead end, no outlet street has become very unsafe. Our road is constantly blocked off by church traffic. And it's a 2-lane street. Everybody comes down my street, turns around, faces north, and everybody goes towards Lundy Street. It's a fatal funnel. I can't come to my own home at certain times of the weekend, nor can I leave at certain times of the weekend. This isn't a personal attack against the church. I got married there. It's a great church. It's not about the church, it's about the traffic. Because of the way they're parking down there now, they have, and the police officer I called and talked to before, they're parking too close to the entrance of the street. So when you leave South Chavanaugh Street, you can't see traffic east and west on Lundy Street. So we have to inch out into the street. The whole community is concerned about this. We've all almost gotten in accidents because of it. So I'm here tonight representing my street. I was going to bring them all with me, but you probably don't have enough chairs.
Okay. We'll take a look at it, though.
Okay.
Yes.
I appreciate that. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank
Can I
you.
get your last name again?
Travis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. Travis, is this, if you don't mind my follow-up,
Sure.
is it mostly an issue just on Sundays?
Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday?
from 3 to 6 on Saturday and from 6 o'clock in the morning till 12:30 on Sunday.
Okay. In other words, when there's worship service at
Correct. My neighbor won't even let his kids go out to play until church is gone
Okay,
for the day.
thank you.
Okay. We'll move to new business.
Mayor and Council, this first item is one of several items that relate to the proposed development on this 37-acre tract of land out on the east side of the city off of Highway 18. So the first item is a public hearing on an annexation agreement. The second item is the actual adoption of the annexation agreement. We won't actually annex, however, until at the next meeting because we have to provide notice to the Fire Protection District. And then there's also a zoning and a TIF agreement that relate to the same project. So this is the first of those items. So it's my request that you open a public hearing.
I request a motion and second to open a public hearing regarding an annexation agreement for a tract of property comprising approximately 37 acres of land in the southwest quarter of the southeast quarter of Section 30, Otter Creek Township.
So moved.
Is there a second? Clerk, call roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Crouch,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye.
Mayor and Council, Unique Homes of Charleston, also operating as Villages of Hollybrook, was represented at the Plan Commission meeting and gave a presentation then about their project. I expected them to be here this evening, so I can't account for them not being here. Perhaps it was his weather. But the pre-annexation agreement basically says that the property owners will annex the entire 37-acre tract of land, which is immediately to the east of First Church of the Nazarene on Highway 18 and across the street to the north from Central Church of Christ. They'll annex that entire 37-acre tract under the condition that they're allowed to connect to the city sanitary sewer that's on the north side of Highway 18. And that the city creates a new TIF district in which this property is located so that that can be a feature of their financing.
Public hearing is open. Anyone like to make comments in regards to this issue? Hearing none. Does that entertain a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
You get a second here. Brian, second.
Okay. Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Crouch,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 2.
It's recommended that you approve the annexation agreement that you just conducted a public hearing on.
I'd entertain a motion second to approve and adopting the annexation agreement for a tract of property comprising approximately 37 acres of land in the southwest quarter of the southeast quarter of Section 30, Otter Creek Township, LaSalle County, Streator, Illinois.
So moved.
Joe,
Second.
second. Any other discussion? Clerk, call roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Crouch,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 3.
Item 3 is also about annexation, but not the same parcel. We're actually now over on the west side of the city. At a previous meeting this year, you authorized the purchase of an approximately 10-acre parcel of land in Eagle Township that is actually adjoining the Vermilion River across from property owned by across from west 1st and 2nd Streets. And the city actually closed on this property yesterday. So it is now owned by the city. And so this is an ordinance annexing it into the city.
Entertain a motion and second to adopt an ordinance annexing property owned by the city of Streator adjacent to the Vermilion River in Eagle Township to the city of Streator, Illinois, counties of LaSalle and Livingston.
So moved.
Second. Any other discussion? Clerk, call roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Crouch,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye.
Mayor and Council, item 4 is the consolidated report of the Plan Commission regarding the 3 items that they made a recommendation to you on that you will act on separately, beginning with item 5. That is a rezoning of the 37-acre tract in Otter Creek Township that was the subject of the annexation agreement that you just discussed, and 2 facade grants. So again, item 4 is not to approve these, it's simply to accept, receive, and file the report of the Plan Commission. They'll actually act on their recommendations later in the agenda.
Entertain a motion and second to place on file the Plan Commission's recommendations from their April 10th, 2018 meeting.
So moved. Second.
Second. Any other discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Crouch,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 5.
So this is the Plan Commission's recommendation on the rezoning. Why don't you summarize that? After he does, Mr. Phillips is here, Chad Phillips from Unique Homes, just a little bit late, must have been bad weather. So I've asked him to talk briefly about the project, sort of building on what was mentioned at the Plan Commission. But first, Jeremy.
Thank you. Yes, the recommendation that you just placed on file from the Plan Commission was a unanimous recommendation to change the zoning of the 37-acre parcel to C3 general commercial to allow for the assisted care, memory care facility that they're about to talk about. But that was a unanimous recommendation from the Plan Commission and recommend that it be approved.
Chad.
How we doing? Sorry for being late. I have some visuals here if you'd like to take these. Well, we totally appreciate the openness that the city of Streator and everybody that has been working with us on putting this project together has allowed. And it's been a blessing to work with everybody and the open arms that we've had to this point. Our plan is to purchase the 37 acres and basically phase 1 is going to be the build of a 74-unit complex, which is going to consist of 50 assisted livings units, and then we're going to have another 24 memory care units. We're a family-owned operation. We've been in business in the construction industry since the 80s. My father started the company, and probably about 83, building houses and just single-family residential homes. And we ventured into student rental and started working on building around EIU, which is where we live in Charleston, Illinois. And that later turned into a restaurant and a hotel and a couple of other things, but all that leading to, obviously we all know, the 2006 and 2008 recession that we dealt with, and we had an opportunity to get into the assisted living memory care. And so our construction knowledge and our management background all started playing a role as we are designing, we're building, and we're managing our own facilities, which gives us a leg up on the competition. It also helps us to provide a product that we are controlling from start to finish, and we're able to put out at a reasonable rate, cutting 30% of our expenses down. Obviously, we pass that on to all of our residents, which has been a win-win for us. And we're excited to bring this community to Streator. And I mean, it's full of, we've got theater rooms, the dining room is spectacular. We have cafes built in, there's laundry service available, med reminders available, the units are spacious, one bedrooms are right around 560 square feet. We've got units that go all the way up to 1,100 square feet, so there's options for any kind of taste that might come our way. We pride ourselves in being in control of the management, which allows us to have that hands-on approach. Food is one of our big things, as you can see, for myself. But we're really particular about how we prepare meals. That's the lifeblood behind what we do, along with many other things that make it successful for us. We've built 16 of these facilities that, like you see in the pictures there, that are still under management and operation by us. We're currently putting together a project for 2018 of about 7 of these, and Streator's on that docket. So if we can get this pushed through and We're going to be ready to start as soon as we can, hopefully before snow starts to fly, which typically we like to put these things together by August, between August and October is about the deadline, because the winters, as you know, really just bring construction to a halt. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to entertain those, whether now or after.
What's your target date for occupancy? Would that
Target
be-
date, so it takes us about 12 months from start to finish. Obviously, that's weather permitting. Sometimes they can take up to 14, but we've really, considering this is now our first one, we've been able to critique our schedule and really start to reduce the amount of time, which gets us into that 12-month time frame. So if we were to, let's just say we got started in October of 18, we're going to be doing a grand opening October of 19, which would be the plan. So obviously it just depends on how long it takes to get through everything that we're putting together now, and with the speed that everybody's worked on it so far, I really think and really remain positive that a 2018 dig would be feasible.
Thank you. Questions from the council? Thank you very much.
Chad, before you got here, we already approved, we had a hearing on the annexation agreement, approved the annexation agreement. The actual annexation itself will be next month because of the notice we have to
Sure.
handle. So they're going to vote on the zoning tonight. We're also going to be later on voting here in just a few minutes on the professional service agreement to start the TIF going. So,
Very good.
So I think we're good. We're not that far off that schedule that we had talked about.
Mhm.
So
That's great news. Really appreciate that. I mean, it's really, we do a good job at what we do, and it's really encouraging when you come in and see a city that's really doing a good job at what they do. So we really appreciate that.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion second to approve a change in zoning and amending the district zoning map of the city of Streator for the property on East Highway 18 from AG Agriculture to C3 General Commercial Zoning District under the provisions of the Streator Municipal Code of Ordinances, zoning code.
So moved.
Second. Any other discussion? Clerk, call roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Crouch,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 6. Chairman.
Item 6 relates to award of a facade grant for $10,000 to the owners of 314 East Main. They propose a full facade renovation to H&H Mercantile. The one stipulation that the Planning Commission did ultimately recommend is that the flat awning, which they have basically elected or requested to be kept, that a structural engineer issue a report basically showing that it's sound. So the Planning Commission has a recommendation that if you were to award the grant tonight, that stipulation carried through to the award, that basically the award would not be valid until that report comes in.
So we do not have that report as of yet.
No, Mrs. Holmberg has reached out to a couple of engineers. She's working with them. I will say I did get a correspondence from her this evening that basically she's considering removing the awning completely, taking the awning completely off. I think that'll have to come back to Planning Commission if that's what she likes to do. But since she can't be here tonight, she's in the hospital. I would say if you guys do like to move ahead, just to leave that stipulation on there about the awning, and then it's basically her decision of whether or not she wants to proceed with an engineer or come back to the Planning Commission.
So then I entertain a motion and a second to approve the awarding of a facade grant to Nancy and Stig Arnie Holmberg in the amount of $10,000, providing,
with the contingency that the awning is inspected by a structural
and we
engineer.
get that report.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Any other discussion?
In the back of that discussion material you gave us, you had some pictures. I don't remember that one. That's just samples of what?
That was samples she provided to the last Planning Commission, basically showing that that style is something that exists. Because the first Planning Commission appearance, they initially wanted a triangular awning. They came back, Planning Commission recommended a triangular awning. But they have now amended that position to basically say if the owners can find that it is sound, by a structural engineer, then it can proceed, if you all recommend it.
Clerk, call the roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Crouch,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 7.
Item 7 is another facade grant, this time for 419 East Main. I apologize, in the amount of $12,000 is the new health and wellness shop at 419 East Main. So our unanimous recommendation from the Planning Commission that the grant be awarded, and recommendation is to approve.
Thank you. Entertain a motion second to approve the award of the facade grant to Sean and Mike Cates in the amount of $12,000.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any other discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Crouch,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 8.
Mayor Council, item 8 is the next item that relates to Chad's project. The developer has indicated that the project isn't feasible without the creation of a TIF. We elected to not create a TIF that is just limited to the 37-acre tract that they're acquiring and annexing into the city, but a larger area, which is not actually in the packet material, but we have a map of it. It's not finalized yet, but we've gotten we've clarified it enough that we can have Jacobs & Klein, our TIF counsel, give us a quote, and they've offered a professional services agreement. Chad's company has agreed to pay for a percentage of that cost, and the attorney has also indicated, which he's done for other TIFs, it's not unique to this project, that they defer a portion of the building until after the first tax bills start to come in a year after the project. This amount is fully in line with what we paid and the services provided for the other TIFs that we did in 2016. And we have impressed upon Herb Klein, who will be doing his staff will be doing most of the work, that this is a fairly tight timeline in order to meet Chad's timeline. So it's not as big as TIF 4, the one that we did in South, it's called Streator South Industrial TIF. There was also in 2 counties. That took a lot of extra time, and I expect that this one will be shorter because it's smaller and it's all in 1 county. Probably around 60 to 90 days worth of work. So,
Thank you. Entertain a motion second to approve and authorize a professional services agreement for the establishment of a new Route 18 Eastern TIF district with the law firm of Jacob & Klein.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Crouch,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 9.
At its March meeting, the Streator Park Board made a recommendation to you for the design and layout of the new Vermilion River Greenway Trailhead Park. The acquisition of that park was still pending at the time and remains pending to this day because there's been a legal action initiated on that. It is, however, although we're hopeful of a speedy resolution of those matters, the other item that we need for the state, the Department of Natural Resources, to move forward is a design and layout approved by you. So even though there's some other land issues to be worked out, in order to expedite the project and get going on the remainder of construction there, it's our request that you approve the design layout that's in the packet.
I'd entertain a motion second to approve the motion adopted the Streator Park and Open Spaces Board's rec for the layout of a new Vermilion Greenway Trailhead Park.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Any other discussion?
Did this design get changed from original?
Yes, it did. It was changed by the park board. It wasn't changed as a result of any of the current adjoining owner legal actions. It was because the park board felt that to select some different options that were offered by staff. If you'd like, Jeremy can explain those changes.
No, that's right. That's fine.
Any other comments, questions? Clerk, call roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Crouch,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 10.
Mayor and Council, the Presbyterian Church at the corner of Hickory and Vermilion Streets has asked that we designate 2 handicap parking stalls on the north side of Hickory Street, mid-block between Sterling and Vermilion, basically on either sides of the north-south alley that runs on the east side of the church and the west side of Park Place. This will augment the existing handicap parking that the church already has on their property just off the alley. We took some time to evaluate this to really determine whether or not that many handicap spots were needed in that area. And the police chief met with the pastor there. So we agreed and we're recommending to you for passage.
Next close to where their elevator's at to get up this.
Is there anybody here from the church?
I'd entertain a motion and second to adopt an ordinance amending Title 10, Chapter 10.24 of the Municipal Code of Ordinances of the City of Streator, LaSalle, and Livingston Counties, Illinois, by designating the addition of 2 handicap parking spaces in the 400 block of East Hickory Street.
So moved.
Your second.
Second.
Any other discussion?
I have some, do they have no parking or handicap in front of the church on Vermilion also?
They do not.
No.
No?
No.
Oh, okay. No problem.
Any other comments? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Crouch,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 11.
Last year, you approved an agreement with Kurt Vidae, because he's managing the farmer's market, and he has stepped out of that responsibility, and so it's being taken over by Gregory and Marjorie Haynes, and so we fashioned the agreement as much as possible to follow the format that we had worked out with Kurt. They've made a few changes. The principal two are that they want to do it on Tuesdays as well as Saturdays, and they want to use a portion of the diagonal sidewalk that goes up from the corner of Hickory and Park towards the Plum Pavilion, which is in accordance with your city council policy that all those activities stay in the southwest quadrant of the park. So the agreement has been updated and is ready for your approval.
Thank you. Entertain a motion second to place on file and approve an agreement with Gregory and Marjorie Haynes regarding the use of city park for farmers market.
So moved, Your Honor.
For a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? Clerk, call roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Crouch,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 12.
In March, you directed that we finalize 2 city council policy statements, one regarding the use of the downtown facade grant. You just approved 2 facade grants earlier today that have specifically to do with when an owner is asking for a second grant for the same property, as well as clarity about what the city's participation level is on city-owned recreational facilities when they're used by outside nonprofit groups that are providing recreational programming. So those have been committed to writing and are ready for your adoption. They can be adopted with one motion or separate motions if you wish, but it's on here as one item. One point of clarification, you've acted on to create the new facade grant program in 2015, where you completely overhauled it at that time. And then you've made 2 revisions of it since then, one with regard to the funding percentages and one with regard to the area of downtown that it's covered by. Those are the 2 principal changes. Those are relatively minor. But we never folded it into the city council's policy notebook, so we're doing that here with this 3rd amendment to the 2015 rewrite. So the whole thing is in there now.
It's okay if we just have one motion to cover both these issues? Then I entertain a motion and second. Place on file and approve new city council policy statements regarding the downtown facade grant program and the use of recreational facilities owned by the city of Streator.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any other discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Crouch,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Item 13, I'd entertain a motion and second to approve the consent agenda with Councilman Scarberry abstaining from Section B.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any other discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Vidae,
Aye.
Bozak,
Aye.
Crouch,
Aye.
Scarberry,
Aye.
Mayor Lansford.
Aye. Move into city official comments. Everyone got anything? Kate?
I think it was in the paper a couple weeks ago, but the priest pedaling for prayers, they just arrived about, 45 minutes ago. I saw them pulling in, so they're in town. Have you seen them? There's 3 priests bicycling they started in Naval, and they came from Peoria to Streator today. So they're in town. I don't know if I want to ride my bicycle from Peoria today. And then I got a request to mention the Food Truck Festival coming up May 19th in the city park. So that's all.
There are flyers out in a little box by the door for the Food Truck Festival and Wall Dog activities coming up this summer. Thing I'd like to say something about is, for the second year in a row, retail taxes are up in the city of Streator. Last year, in 10 of the 12 months, they were at the highest they've been in at least 4 years. And that's a good sign that things are moving in the right direction. And that's what we're trying to do.
Brian?
I'd just like to thank Mr. Phillips for your interest in our community, and we're glad that you're here and ready to see this project get underway.
Thank you.
Joe?
The only thing I'd like to say is, over the past couple weeks, 2 city employees, Captain Bill Dobin and Irene Craig, both passed, and they were both excellent people and excellent employees. And I got the honor to work with Captain Dobin, so just my condolences to them.
In fact, the fire department did a detail today, didn't they?
We did honor guard last night and the detail things.
I'd entertain a motion, a second, to adjourn to closed session for the purpose of discussing the sale, lease, or purchase of real estate, and for the purpose of litigation.
So, second.
Clerk, call roll, please.
Vidae,
Hi.
Bozak,
Aye.
Crouch,
Aye.
Scarborough,